started my career in Canada, and I was there for about 20 years. I started about 1975. In 1995, I moved to Denver, mostly because I wanted to live here. And it was also good for my business, and I continued building and repairing instruments when I came here. I would buy broken instruments, I'd fix them up, and I'd sell them. I found that there was a need for that service, and so that's how I started my business. I worked on mandolins and banjos, electric guitars, basses, some of the violin family, cellos, double basses, violas, harps, dulcimers, lutes, ouds, and just about anything that has strings and is made out of wood. I actually initially was a banjo player, but I found myself building guitars because they were a lot more interesting to build. I built some banjos, but they were kind of mechanical and not that interesting to build, and so I was building guitars. And so I decided I wanted to kind of marry the two interests. There's a lot of interest in hybrid forms of music, hybrid forms of instruments, because again, musicians are trying to mix and match and come up with new formulas for their musical expression. So I've copied the overall neck configuration and the overall design of a banjo from the functional point of view, but from an acoustic point of view, it has a different kind of sound. I didn't want it to sound like a guitar. I wanted it to have its own unique voice. It's a small but dedicated group of musicians who want to explore new sounds, new ways of playing instruments. Musicians are often in search of something new to free up their expression. In terms of building the banjo is my pet project. In terms of teaching the guitar is certainly kind of the thing that most people can relate to. I've been teaching ever since day one. I've always had either assistants or apprentices working with me. I did a lot of one-on-one instruction with people.
I've known Edward for about 8 years. I met him in one of his classes that the shop teaches. I was a furniture builder at the time, and it was a great way, I thought, to do like continuing education through the company that I had. So it combined the woodworking skills that I had with the music that I loved playing together in one thing and learning to build a guitar.
We don't have the ability to teach huge numbers of people, and our classes are fairly small. The biggest class we'll ever have is 8 people. And so those classes always seem to be filled up, and there's always demand for it. We also have interns who come here and learn as well.
Tom and Edward are two amazing people to learn from because they really know what they're doing. They also don't act like they're the only people who know what they're doing. They give you your space to very quickly find out how you like to work.
It becomes collaborative as the student becomes more technically proficient. They've got to learn some of the fundamentals of musical instruments and woodworking before we can start reinventing the wheel. When we do the building classes, people just start by building a guitar. They learn basic woodworking skills. They learn, the structure and the physics of a guitar, the engineering aspects of it, the design aspect of it. Some people come at it from the repair end of the spectrum and want to learn how to, set up and adjust instruments that are already built. So I kind of come from both ends of the spectrum. Teaching has become, as it was always, a fairly easy byproduct of what I did, in terms of especially the guitar building. Part of surviving in this world is reinventing yourself. So I've had to change my designs of my instruments. My instruments are very different than what they would have started out 30, 40 years ago. Teaching other people how to do it, I find, I get a lot of inspiration from my students who all have their own ideas as to how they want to expand the idea of a guitar and how they want the directions that they want to go in as well. One of the things about musical instruments is that they are very much a bridge between art and science. And there's certain things that have to be engineered properly, because you've got 150 pounds of tension pulling on that guitar neck and pulling on this body. So there's a certain amount of engineering and science that goes into the design of the instrument so that it simply functions and it doesn't fall apart. You're choosing the type of tone that you want to create by the choice, how you engineer the bracing inside the guitar, how you engineer the thicknesses of the plates, and how you design the shape of the guitar. All of those things go into more what I would call the artistic aspect of a musical instrument.
It's not just the skills of learning to build, there's a mindset that you learn. Somehow part of you gets into the instrument that you're building. Part of your soul connects with that instrument.
It's not something that one can learn in a matter of a few months or even a few years. It's a lifelong pursuit.
You have to get out there and you have to put yourself out there.
One of the things that attracted me to this work and this business was I didn't feel I was ever going to have to retire. It was going to be something that I could do all my life. And so I fully anticipate that I'll be doing this my entire life. I won't ever quit.